Welcome back, people. Beyond the Lane, episode 4. I hope everybody's keeping well out there tonight and I've had a good day. With me today, we've got Nige from Pure Coys. You want to say hello, Nige?
Hi, Dan. How's it going, mate? Hi, Brian.
Big up to you both.
And Brian, big thank you for coming on the show today. Massive thank you to you, man. How you been?
I'm good, mate. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to come on. Obviously, you've been great supporters of Tottenham Tour. Had you both on the show on the channel, and it's great to be able to come onto your relatively new channels and support you two. So thanks for inviting me.
Cheers, man.
Yeah, thank you. And big up to everybody in the chat. Let's have a look and see who we got here today. We've got Alex. Big up, Alex. Hope you're good, buddy. We also have Matty as well. Big up, Matty. Hope you're good. The Sheriff. Big up, the Sheriff. Hope you're good too, man. And Andrew Gregory. Hello, Andrew. Hope you're good, buddy. So let's go, guys. Look, how are we all feeling after the weekend? I mean, I've calmed down a bit myself. Brian, how are you feeling? I know you've been very busy today on shows, so
listen, I've been busy today. Do you know what? Tottenham on Tour didn't stream yesterday. We just felt it was the right thing to do yesterday. And normally we do Ange and management, morning brews, whatever, and we get it all out of our system. Well, it's been raging inside me for an extra day. It is what it is with Tottenham Hotspur. I'm not going to use the word mate after it. It is what it is. It's nothing we haven't seen before. It's something we'll see again in the future. And it's just, do you know what it was? It's Ange's comments and also the second half capitulation and just not giving a crap in that second half, which was just unacceptable and has hurt a lot of Spurs fans, and rightfully so.
It has. Before we get going, just a big up to Paul as well. Thank you, Paul. Hope you're doing good. Please, guys, remember, smash the like button, subscribe to myself, Nige Pure Coys, and Brian Dagul, Tottenham on Tour. Much appreciated. Brilliant. So what we're going to do tonight, there's so much to talk about that game. Now, I've prepared a few slides to help us kind of break it down what actually happened. So we're going to review the first half and we're going to review the second half. And there's just so many talking points from that match. I did have other plans to discuss other things, but after I've gone over it, there's so many talking points. So I think we've got plenty to talk about. Everybody in the who's watching, get involved with your comments. We'll try and read out as many as possible and try and get to as many as we can. So just bear with us there. So let's get going, guys. Nige, sorry I didn't ask you, how are you feeling after the weekend?
It's just Tottenham, isn't it? We come to expect it. I read a stat that this is apparently the 10th time that Spurs have been 2-0 up at halftime and gone on to lose the game 3-2. In fact, the closest team closest to us that have done the same kind of thing is 7 times. So we are well out in front of that. So that's kind of one trophy, isn't it?
The first of it, always good to be the first of
Exactly.
something, apparently, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I was shocked. I was shocked Sunday, but I wasn't surprised. Kind of happens as soon as that first goal went in, you could see the writing was on the wall. I'm trying to forget about it, but it's hard when you do YouTube, isn't it? So,
yeah.
Okay, so let's get into it. So let me just bring up some information here I prepared today. Just looking at the stats there. I don't know if everyone can see that from where you're sitting. It's if you blow the screen up, you should be able to look at it a bit better, a little bit more clearer. Brian, Nige, can you see it?
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was the first half. Now, there's a lot of negative stuff to talk about, but how I see it, I want to review that first half because there was some good stuff what happened. So we're not going to spend too long on it because I know the focus is on how bad things are. But look, let's just touch on it. Brian, you first. What did you like about that first half? What impressed you?
Well, the first half, all right, Brighton had their opportunities, and we have to face it that teams in an Ange Postecoglou setup are going to get opportunities against us. It's whether they take them and are ruthless enough when we play them. So it's part and parcel. We could sit here, I can tell you now, every single game for the rest of the season, a talking point will be, or if they had a striker or if they had taken their chances, it'd be a different story. It's what's going to happen the way we play. But what we did do is we started with such hunger, such a determination that it looked like it was going to be, I wouldn't say it goes as far as a walk in the park, but Brighton didn't know how to handle us. And you look at it, and we had, for that domination, I didn't realise there were only 6 shots. And the 2 that were on target were obviously the 2 we took from it. Brighton had their moments. They didn't take it. We have to understand that. But I literally thought in the first half, it looked like we were going to be at the races and game over. We'll talk about the second half. You look at it, listen, I never look at XG. I hate XG. I know it's a stat that people use and it's now part and parcel of the game. I cannot stand XG. I fully don't understand, in all honesty, how it properly works out and correlates, whatever. But each to their own when it comes to stats. The most important one is the one that's in the top left where it says the score. And it looked like we were going to go 6 in 6. It just looked like everything was going our way, didn't it?
Yeah. Nige, do you want to say a little bit more about the first half? I think there was chances where we could have taken the game away from Brighton in that first half. Johnson had a chance. I think Maddison had a chance. There were some big opportunities there to really put that game to bed in the first half, which, in the end, it came back to haunt us. Would you agree, Nige? Anything what you liked in that first half before we move on to the nightmare stuff?
I mean, I liked everything in the first half, but it's been the story of our season. We've been very good in every first half this season in the league. Leicester dominated every game. Newcastle dominated. Brentford dominated. Man United dominated. Brighton, we dominated. But, we don't seem to be clinical enough. But yeah, first half, we're fantastic. The pressing, I love the way we press from the front. I love the way we get chances from it. For me, it seems to be the final ball. The final ball always lets us down, or the final touch, the final cross. I mean, we had it in the first 20 seconds, didn't we? If Werner squares that, Johnson, he's got an empty net, and it's not a difficult pass. It really isn't. And that kind of sums up the way we're playing. We get into really good positions, but we don't quite have enough to take our chances. And that for me is a disappointing thing. But as for performance, I thought first half we're fantastic.
It was all a bit too comfortable, though, weren't it? I thought. Don't know about how you guys felt. I thought this looks a bit too easy, too good to be true.
Well, so this is the way we've looked at how many we wanted to create more chances. We've started creating more chances. So there has been that change. Have we been taking them? No. And let's be serious. If it hadn't been for Brennan Johnson scoring 6 in 6, yes, the Lankeys chipped in. Where would we be? Where would we be if you took Brennan 6 goals away? And this has been away recently. Ange said he wanted to revolutionise his front line. The only difference is Solanke. Right now, Odebear is injured. We're always going to do this, but we've become a club now where we've been speaking about. Oh, we played well. We created chances. It's all well and good creating them. You have to there's no extra points for how many you created. There's no, it's putting the ball in the back of the net. That's the only stat that matters. You can see there, we had another, I can't remember all 4 or 10. I remember Brennan Johnson's near the end. where he put it over.
Had a goal disallowed as well, Brian.
Yeah, the goal disallowed. I mean, whether it's offside or not, from where I was watching it, I don't even know if it crossed the line. In all honesty, from the views that I was seeing. But yeah, we haven't been clinical enough. It's an issue. Solanke coming back, who created, but we did. It's amazing. We got a striker that we don't create for, but our striker is now creating for others.
Yeah,
we just can't get that balance right.
Yeah, I really felt for Solanke. I got to be honest. I thought he did okay, but he just didn't get any service at all. Absolutely nothing the whole game.
Correct. I mean, Dan, what were you thinking?
Oh, I just thought it was, as I said a few minutes ago, I just thought it was all too easy. And I was just so shocked how poor Brighton were in that first half. And, you know, again, the only disappointing thing is we didn't put them to bed. We could have been 3 or 4 goals up. That would have been definitely would have been game over. Now, I, at half time, was thinking, you know, 1 more goal in the second half to kill the game.
Yep.
I wasn't totally confident that the game was done. Surely Brighton were going to come alive at some point. And, you know, when we get onto it in a few moments, yeah, that's what happened. But let me just show you another slide quickly before we move on to the second half. If you look at the attacking momentum here, you could see in that first half, there was a lot from us, right up into the last 15 minutes of the half, where we were in complete control. The pressing was good. We were winning all the 50-50s. We were pinning them in, playing with the high line. Brighton just couldn't get out. But then after that, in that last 15 minutes there or so, Brighton did create a couple of good chances. And I think it was a couple of warning signs to us. They were getting it out to Matoma on the left. So there was a brilliant chance where he put it across the box. And Welbeck was so close to scoring. You also had the Welbeck header. So there was a couple of warning signs in that first half. Even though Brighton didn't perform well, they were there. They did look to the wings. And there's a slide I'm going to bring up in a minute just to kind of show you. But look, let's get on to the second half because this is where it really gets interesting. So let's move on to that now. Let me see if I've got a slide there. So there's some interesting stuff here, what I've been reading. Now, a lot's been made out about how poor Spurs were in that 20-minute spell. Now, yeah, that's true, of course, but you have to look at Brighton as well and what their manager did at half time. I mean, I saw a video today explaining it all, and there's something here in the slides that people can see in the chat, and Nige, Brian, if you can see as well. So what the manager did, the Brighton manager, he decided to put the 4 forwards up right tight to our 4 defenders and play very aggressive. They also changed the left back. Espinman came on the left. He brought a new dynamic to the Brighton side. And then suddenly it was a different game. The holes were appearing. Bentancur was struggling to contain the likes of Welbeck and Rutica. They were causing chaos. Matoma, the ball kept on going out to him. He was getting past the fullback. Positionally, our centre-backs were caught out. Udogie as well. So, yeah, guys, what's your view on that and what I just said?
Go on, Nige.
Oh, that's a lot. Yeah, I mean, from what I saw, they did take the fullback off, who struggled a bit first half. I think it's Dagul's side. Kulu and Johnson were getting the better of him and pushing him back, which meant Matoma didn't get forward as much. So they took him off at half time and brought the other guy on, who's a lot more attacking, and it gave Matoma a lot more space to get forward. So that was when I saw the biggest change for me. Matoma seemed to have a lot more freedom out there to go and do what he does. And listen, again, you know me, I'm not a massive tactic person, but I just think they just wanted it a lot more. They just pressed us a lot more. I said at the start of the second half, I was talking to myself, but I said they just look a lot hungrier on the ball. They're getting the ball at the back, they're moving it quicker. Whereas first half, they just didn't seem to. Second half, they did. And within within 20 seconds of me saying that, they went up the field and scored.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to look at this. I mean, the most startling thing is obviously a manager changed to counteract our strategy, our strengths. You look at it, subs came on. Who'd have thought subs made differences? But Brighton saw what was wrong and fixed it, or attempted to fix it. And it was an overwhelming success what they did. Can we listen? I think we can keep talking about Ange setting his ways. Is he going to change? We can talk about it till we're blue in the face. The fundamentals aren't going to change. Yes, he's made subtle changes, but he won't come out and make wholesale changes like this. We've seen it. Brighton obviously could see danger, and they've gone down this route of trying to fix it by changing things. For some reason, listen, I will say on behalf of with Ange as well, is our players just their body language. And you mentioned Bentancur. I think it was a disgrace in that second half. There's a few of them that were an absolute disgrace. And Bentancur was certainly one of them, who we have been praising for the last 2 games in the league where he's really stood out. That drop-off, you'd have thought going in at half-time 2-0 down, tails between their legs, whatever the manager said, they've come up, refreshed, new players on, and just said, right, do you know what? Let's go for it. They did, and we just laid down for them.
Do you know what I think it was as well? I think we went in 2-0 up at halftime and we were so comfortable and it was so easy that I think we come out second half thinking this game's done. Take our foot off the gas. And as soon as they scored, it was almost like, oh, what do we do? And they just couldn't get back in their groove again. And yeah, it's really, really unprofessional. Really unprofessional.
Correct.
It was, and for me, I mean, this is what really annoyed me and everybody, that he was watching from the sidelines. I don't know if you will remember, but the camera, it went close up to him and he was standing there gobsmacked. Now, the first goal goes in, okay? What are you going to do, Ange? You're going to adjust it? You're going to do something? And then number 2 follows quickly after. Then you're going to do something now, Ange? No, he doesn't. The third goal comes in. And it's astonishing, absolutely astonishing that he did not make a change. He weren't even shouting or trying to speak to the players, reorganise them. Clearly, Brighton, their tails were up. They worked us out in that second half, how they're going to play against us. Just close us down, get it tight, get it out to the wings, press us. Obviously, the left back made a massive difference coming in. Welbeck and Rudiger were finding spaces. And what it was is Bentancur, yes, he was very poor, and I agree, Brian and Nige, but he was overrun. And what you found is that Maddison, he's not great defensively, and he was trying in there, but that's just not his game. It's just not his game. He's not good at tackling. Kulu, I think, stayed up. He didn't really get back much. So I'm going to come on to a bit about that midfield, not now, but we will get back to it, that Brighton just completely overran us. And the defensive positioning of our centre-backs was a problem. Plus, players like Johnson and Werner, they weren't tracking back to support the fullbacks, to help them out. So so much went wrong in that period, that 20 minutes period. And I feel that Ange, he should have done something. He should have taken responsibility. Now, just one more thing before we move on is I heard a comment today. I won't name and shame, but they reckon that Ange, he didn't change anything because he wanted to see what these players were made of. What do you think, guys? What do you think of that comment and people in the chat?
So I fully am behind Ange, but I don't get what he was trying to do, and I don't understand his comments. I can understand coming into the second half unchanged. You're winning 2-0. Things are good. You see we're under the cosh. He's a funny guy, is Paddy. He's a funny guy. Then you don't make a change at 2-1. And one of the things I'm annoyed about is a phrase I use often and I've used regularly today on all shows. Spurs have a habit throughout recent history of overplaying players and undervaluing them. And when I say undervaluing, I don't mean by wages. I mean by their medical condition, their fitness, no resting, no whatever. You could clearly see that Destiny wasn't ready. And after that change, he was having a mare, get him off. You got a ready-made Spence right there. The exact reason he's there, but you didn't make a change at 2-1. You want to see what the players could do to fix up. The fact he didn't make a change at 2-2, because the complexion of the game has changed. You want to shut up shop. You want to try and get another goal back, but no change. Then 3-2, and still no changes. I'm more pissed off that he didn't change it at 2-2 than not at 3-2. But then when you're looking 2-2 to bring on Bissouma and Sarr makes sense. 3-2 down with 13 minutes to go and you need to get a goal makes no sense. So it's really, really bizarre, and his comments were just even more so.
Oh, it was an awful period of that match. That 20-minute spell, I just can't get over it. It's unacceptable. It's just unacceptable management. Any top manager managing the team would have done something. They would have made a change. They would have seen it a mile off. They would have realised that the Brighton manager made it a tactical switch, and they would have changed it up, and they would have done it fast, just to counteract what Brighton were doing. Everybody was struggling. We couldn't hold the ball. We were just under so much pressure. And I don't think, I mean, Ange was saying that was his worst, it was his biggest defeat, or the kind of, do you know what I mean? It was like the worst performance. That, you know, do you hear he said that of his reign so far? Would you agree with that, guys?
Go on, Nige.
I don't know. Possibly, yeah. Just getting back onto Ange, his comments really frustrated me, and I did have that slide to bring up later, but I'll bring up something else instead. But to say that it was pointless changing because wasn't it something like we didn't deserve to win, and he doesn't want to win if we don't deserve it, or something along those lines. Yep. And I just think, well, this is your job. You're the manager. You get paid to get results. You know, we're not at school. We're not teaching children right from wrong. We need to get results. I don't get why he didn't change it. I mean, I personally would have changed it at 2-1, but definitely when it went to 2-2, make a change, do something. But again, I've got a slide to bring up later which shows that this isn't the first time he's done this. He's done it 3 or 4 times over his tenure at Spurs already. And
interesting.
Yeah, he doesn't make changes early enough for me.
Doesn't make changes at all. I mean, you look at it, what you were saying, Dan, is obviously what he said about it being the worst performance.
Yeah.
I agree with him. You look at the Fulham 3-0, we were battered from start to finish. We didn't show up. You look at Liverpool away, you look at others, we took a pasting, we didn't turn up. We were 2-0 up and we had it in the driving seat.
Yeah.
This wasn't Liverpool and we just got played off the park. We were in cruise control. The game was asked to defend and take over the 3 points. The hard work was done. But that half to capitulate from being in a convincing scoreline-wise position to going away with nothing. But yeah, like you said, his comments about being falsely rewarded, it's just mind-blowing. It's just mind-blowing. It's like, right, so if we're losing, but we deserve to be losing, I'm not going to make changes to try and win because that's wrong. This is a results-based business. Whether he... Listen, with Poch and with Antonio to some extent, I understand when they say it was out of context, because even though Poch's English was great at the end, he still said things which, if you said it in how he's trying to say it in Spanish, comes out differently to what he says in English.
Yeah.
But Ange is speaking fluent English. Ange is, and some of the things he said just don't make sense and shouldn't be said straight after a game. It's not. They're puzzling.
It's a theme, isn't it, Brian? It's a theme this season.
Yeah.
The continued theme of very strange comments doesn't make sense. And look what Ben said as well. Like, his comments after the game shut on every fan that paid for a ticket to go to the game. He must loathe us. It just feels like that, doesn't it? Like, what is he doing? Like, saying that he hasn't actually come out and said this, but he just left them all to it to see if they could react and claw back in that game. But they weren't ever going to do that. And I will never get over this with this. This was just a shocking decision not to make any subs or tactical adjustments. And then it all goes back to as well that, the defending, and we were really tested by some of the Brighton forwards. And they do have some good forwards, Brighton. They're normally they are a top 10 team. They're an attacking team, especially Matoma, fantastic player. I'd love him to come to Spurs. And they were just good. And our defence, they're just not drilled enough in those moments when we're under pressure. And Ange comments a few weeks ago, he said that we're not worried about defending. We're just going to try and outscore the opponent. And that's the Spurs way.
Ask Ozzy Ardiles how that worked out.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's what he's becoming, isn't he? A lot of fans are now kind of comparing him to Ozzy Ardiles. It's not a good reputation to have, or be kind of. We love Ozzy, of course. What he done for Spurs when he played for us, but it's not good, guys. And I don't know what's going on with Ange, and I've got a few questions to ask you guys why you're here, and the people in the chat as well. Just to say big up to Eugene. Hope you're good, man. So let's go to some of those questions. I'm going to put them up on stage. There's a few here, and if anybody else has got any, please ask away. So let's go back to those questions. So we've kind of covered the top one here. Why didn't Ange change anything when he saw what was happening? We've covered that one. I've also covered the one, what I heard today, that he was going to leave the players to it. Do we need to give more credit to that Brighton manager? Well, we kind of covered that. And with, guys, did you want to touch on Brighton at all, or you're just not interested in praising him?
Listen, Brighton. The Brighton manager did exactly what managers should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, and I still can't believe the stats, and it shows our age, that this manager was born after the Premier League was invented. That's how young he is. People of a certain age will only know the Premier League. They won't remember the first division before it came. Well, this guy was born after the Premier League came in. Apparently, used to see Ange or be with Ange, to take notes from him and learn and study from him in some capacity. Brighton have done a number on us. Brighton do deserve as much of the blame you can put on Ange and the players. Brighton were 2-0 down and had to change things to get back into the game. They did it, and just as poor as we were, Brighton deserve enormous credit for changing. It's what you do. We all hear the good teams win bad when they lose, win when they're playing bad. That's a sign of a good team, apparently. Well, what's the sign of a good team that's 2-0 up and cruising and then goes to lose 3-2?
Spursy.
Yeah.
I hate that word, but it is Spursy. And the Brighton manager did exactly what I would expect any manager to do. And that's when the side are 2-0 down, he changes it. He makes changes, He makes tweaks. And as Brian said, he absolutely did a number on us. He's an exciting manager. He plays good front-footed football, and it'd be interesting to see what Brighton do this season. I think they're a good team.
They had a few out as well. It wasn't their first team.
Yeah.
They had a few injuries as well. They lost their centre-back early on in the game. And I thought when that Igor came on, I thought, here we go. We've got a move on a better chance now, because I don't really rate him as a player. But he just fought, didn't he? And what Brighton also did in that second half is they just went for it. They battled. They won the 50-50s. They showed passion. The crowd got behind them. They wanted it more than Spurs. We were pathetic. We bottled it. Let's be honest here. We absolutely bottled it. And it's embarrassing. It was embarrassing to see what happened in that second half. And look, praise the Brighton manager. He's got obviously a bit of tactical nous, hasn't he? I mean, we need that from Ange in certain games. That's what we need to see from Ange. He's not a young guy. He's not a young manager.
This is a thing we don't change. Gary O'Neill gave the blueprint to everyone, and you look at it. He changed. If you own a company or you work for a company and your competitors do something to undercut you or to make them stand out, have a good marketing campaign, everyone else finds, right, let's hit back and let's change something to compete with them. Well, we don't. We just think there's an arrogance about us that we don't need to change, because when we're playing at our A game, we can beat anyone, which technically we can, but if people find out, right, this is troubling us, we're going to stop that. We're going to cut off that supply. Teams know what to do. Teams know what to do against us. Just like with Conte. They're like, give them the ball, don't let them counter-attack. Well, it's the opposite here. It's the opposite here. Just defend deep, give them the ball. There's just no change. It's going to keep happening. Listen, the people, and I can include myself as one, that sit here and go, right, we've got to change this, we've got to change that, he's got to do this, he's got to do that. We can all say it to a blue in the face. Listen to Australian fans that have watched him for decades. Listen to him himself. We play this way. We will not change. I stand by my... And we have to just hope that reinforcements can come in that can help him do this, because it's not going to change anytime soon.
And look, Brian, we're going to talk about that transfer window a little bit later, because this is it always goes back to that. And you know, when we were talking on your show, Brian, a few weeks back, everything's going to go back to that transfer window, and here we are again. So we will touch on that. Guys, what do you think of Eugene's comments here? He's put, Ange's tactics have nothing to do with goals we've been given up. Any Nige, you want to take that one?
Yeah, in a set. I just need to go back to what I will say is about this 3-2 defeat that we suffered Sunday will not be the last time this happens this season. I really don't think it will be, because so many games this year we have played really well first half, and it looks like we're in complete control. And then it's almost like at halftime, the manager's like, right, this is what we do. We're going to do this. And it changes. And you watch, especially in our away games this season, there's so many times in the second half, suddenly the game turns on its head. Obviously, the one exception is United, but they were down to 10 men. But what was Eugene's question again?
Can you see it on the screen? It's Ange's tactics have nothing to do with goals we've been given up.
I'd kind of probably agree with that for the Brighton game. I think there are more individual errors. Yeah, but I do think we are, some of the goals we're conceding are down to Ange's tactics, down to the high line, down to the inverted fullbacks. But I think more on Sunday, it was more to do with errors, and they just wanted it more. You know, the third goal was a perfect example. We had 2 or 3 chances to get the ball clear, and we didn't. And even Romero at the back, you know, just stood there and watched. Just individual errors.
Eugene is spot on with Sunday's game. He's spot on.
Yeah.
With Sunday's game, he's absolutely spot on. And some of the other games, but you'd see very quickly. You look at the first goal. The reason Destiny snatched at it is obviously he thought Van der Ven was going to get the ball, and after he's missed it, it comes to you so quickly. Has he got time to adjust his body? It's a horrific attempt at a clearance. The ball came to him late. Obviously, he's distracted by Van der Ven. What annoyed me was his lack of aggression after he made the mistake. The guy just had the freedom of the stadium to just do it. And then the other 2 goals, as people on channels and social media have put up, and the media have released, you've seen that we were in control. Position-wise, we were in shape. There's no way you look at it, and then you said to people there's going to be a goal scored. You'd be like, well, I can't see where it's coming from. Spurs are set up rightly, but again, the mentality, the body language, the desire, passion, commitment, just not there.
No.
Yeah, and it is that as well. And I mean, when I did my short kind of match reaction after the game, That's what I kind of ended it on. It's a mentality issue, which has been at the club for so many years.
25.
And Ange hasn't nailed it yet. And that's another big thing there with that game, mentality. And I know, Brian, you talked a lot today on your channel about leaders, lacking that leader. And when you look across that team, who is that leader? Who is it? We just don't have enough of them, or even any. Who stood up to the fight in that second half? Who grabbed the game? Who was shouting at the players? Did anyone notice anyone shouting, trying to, roll the other players up? It was just, and Ange just let it all happen. Oh dear, what a bad day. And there's just so many comments here. Look, Ange's style is like a joypad with only 2 buttons, very limited.
Back in the day, the joysticks.
Yeah. Big up,
Listen,
Percy. Hope you're good, bud.
Oh, brother. I hope he's good. Listen, you look at it. There was that TV show, Orange is the New Black. You've got staying in now is the new going out. And you've got Spurs that now use the word leadership when there is none. It's just experienced. Leadership is the new experienced. James Maddison is an experienced player. He's not a leader. Cuti Romero, when the going gets good and we score a goal, loves to give a slap to a player as well done. When one needs it because the chips are down, where is he? Experienced. There's no leaders. There's no leaders of men. There's experienced players that know better. And when everything's good, everything's good. But when the chips come down or the chips are down and you need someone to stand up, no one wants to take responsibility.
We have absolutely no leaders in this team whatsoever. And for me, Romero he's the one that makes me the angriest, to be honest. I think he gives so many goals away. Listen, he's such a good player on his day, and he can be such a good player. But he gives so many goals away. And I noticed it in the Newcastle game just before the international break. He was sloppy. He switched off. He didn't look interested. And exactly the same against Brighton just before an international break. I just think he already cares about his Argentina. He's thinking about, I don't want to get injured. I don't really want to be here. I'm going to Argentina in next week. And I don't know whether it's just a coincidence, but it happened against Newcastle when I thought it was really poor. And then again on Sunday. And it just winds me up. I want players to play for Spurs who want to play for Spurs.
Yeah,
correct.
It's good points. And do you think it's, when we're in these type of games when the home team or the away team are attacking us, that defense, it does look not great, does it? When we're under pressure, especially when we're playing up against some decent forwards, is Ange doing anything in training with this back line? Brian, what do you think? Do you think there's any kind of focus on it at all? It doesn't look like it.
Well, listen, when you talk about that defense, we need to look at ourselves individually. They're brilliant. Collectively, as a unit, when you see it, you should say, you know what, you got pace, you got power, you got guile, you got World Cup winners, you got Copa Americas, you got fullbacks that on their day. I mean, Pedro Porro is incredible. I love that man. Destiny is a talent that's good. He needs to learn quick, but they can't defend. When things are good against Manchester United, everyone looks brilliant.
Yeah.
Van der Ven has had 2 bad games in his Spurs career. They've just so culminated in a 4-0 win for Newcastle and Sunday's 3-2. But every other game, he's pretty much everyone going, oh, this guy's special, this guy's special. There's an issue. But then there's the bigger issue. Are they being protected by the midfield? Does Ange want a 6? Will he get a 6? There's so many questions. This defense, and again, and I've said it before, if you add Radu in it, and people will say it again, and I've said it before, we always seem to have the right squad 2 years later after the previous manager left. Yeah. This back 5, Antonio Conte's wet dream.
Yeah,
literally
definitely.
firing on all cylinders with this back five and playing the way he wanted to. Not saying that I want him back. That's not what I'm saying. But he wanted a back five. He had Longley, Dyer, and Davies or Sanchez. Well, I bet you if he had Romero, Van der Ven, he had Romero as well. I beg your pardon. If he had Romero, Van der Ven, and Dragushin, and Porro and Destiny, my God, we'd be doing differently. The defense is a big problem, but is the defense a big problem because there's no cover? Is the problem because we're playing such a high line? If Van der Ven's not at it, we're done. There's so many questions.
So many. Nice. Did you want to touch on anything about the defence? Then I want to move it to the midfield.
Yeah, I was just going to say the only concern for me with the defence, because, you know, at times they are good. The concern for me is it only seems to take one of them to have a funny 5 minutes, and it seems to affect all of them. You know, I thought actually Van der Ven played pretty well first half, but as soon as that mistake happened and they scored, like you say, I mean, he doesn't have many bad games, but he went to pot. It seems like, yeah, one mistake and they all get spooked by it. But I definitely think, you know, the midfield having such a bad game as well didn't help. When I say the midfield, Bentancur mainly, because he was the one who was supposed to be the holding player. But constantly giving the ball away. But I'm sure we'll get onto that now.
Paul, see your comment there. I'm going to come back to that one a bit later. But moving on to that midfield, and I know I've kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, that Bentancur was he was swamped a bit there. And I looked at his stats from the game after, because normally he has a very high passing accuracy. Sometimes it's in the 90s. He's he has been recently very stable on the ball. But at the game at the weekend, it was very poor. He didn't have as many touches. His passing accuracy wasn't as good as it normally was. He was under a lot of pressure. And there are going to be games when, because we do have quite an attacking midfield, we're playing with Maddison and Kulu and Bentancur. And I think, Nige, you mentioned this as well a week or two back, that can we play that midfield in every match? Or maybe do we play it for a certain time and then we change it up? Because I think Basuma should have come on just to give us a little bit more strength in that midfield. Because we were getting overrun and it wasn't working. And there's another question I want to lead on from that in a minute. But look, Brian, do you want to take that one first about that midfield?
No, obviously, let Nige go first. Nige, go on. You about
okay, yeah. No, I was going to say, I don't think we can play Bentancur, Kulu, and Maddison every game. I think we could play them most home games. I think we get away with it. We'd expect to win most home games. I think there are certain games we need to not shore up, but, you know, have a little bit more stability and not be so attacking. I can absolutely see why Kulu plays in the middle. He's got legs. He runs all day. He doesn't stop. But I just think for certain games, maybe a Basuma and a Bentancur or a Sarr would just give us a little bit more protection.
Yeah. But it's just common sense, right, isn't it, Nige? Like, when that period was happening, when we were getting overrun, that's when it was the time to throw in a Basuma or a Sarr. Give us more legs. That was the right time. It worked well in the first half. We were 2 goals up. Just any sensible manager would make a change and help the team out. And it was just too late in the end, wasn't it, when he brought on Sarr and Basuma? And that time, he probably was best off putting on more attacking players because we were losing. You know, more didn't come on into the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, what do you think, Brian?
Listen, when it comes to the midfield, one thing, I just got I just got a right message to my mum.
That's all right.
There you go. Bentancur. Midfield. So you look at it going into this season or whatever. Joe, the midfield actually looked good. There was Bentancur, Basuma, Archie Gray covering the midfield. Was it Sarr, Kulusevski, Matt? There's so many people there, finding that right trio, just like we did for the first 10 games, or after we dropped on his skip after Brentford and had Basuma, Sarr, Maddison, that midfield was purring along until Chelsea, and then obviously Basuma getting his red card didn't help things either. And you look at the last 2 games, it looked like that midfield, Bentancur, Kulu, and Maddison looked good. Looked like we've actually found a way through to them. And this could be the way forward. But it just goes to show again, lots of people, different channels said, when we come up against the team, I just see my mum, who I was leaving a message, the bottom comment, it weren't my mum. Have a look at your bottom comment. Someone's coming to say hello. Mr. Ben Daniel is in the chat. There he is. So again, it looked like we had found that midfield, but as soon as a big team came, or a team that could overrun us came, there are other options on that midfield to use. There are other solutions to it, but he stuck with it. And Bentancur, who's meant to be a leader, just down tools, sorry. Maddison, who I've said couldn't really lead a conga line, didn't lead, but he comes out and flaps his gum afterwards. So we take this on the chin. This will be energy and fuel to us. We come back bigger and better. We don't. The midfield that I thought looked like one of our strongest positions going in to this season just shows how easily it can be our weakness.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
so the solution to this?
Is there a solution? Oh God, Archie Gray, isn't it? We spent 40 million on him.
We'll never know, will we?
No,
we'll never know. We don't make changes,
guys.
No.
So, what would you have done in that 20 million period if you were Ange? Just quickly, what would you have both done? What would you have changed? Nige?
Well, at 2-1, I would have definitely brought Basuma on. But then I probably would have taken Bentancur off, so I thought he was that poor. So I would have changed Basuma for Bentancur, and see how that went for a bit. But certainly I wouldn't have waited till we're 3-2 down to make changes. And if I did wait till we're 3-2 down to make changes, when I did make changes, it would be for attacking players and not midfielders. I just, what's the point in having a Lancashire on the bench or, a Mikey Moore on the bench? If, what's the point in bringing Mikey Moore on for 5 minutes to go? It's a complete waste of time. If they're in the squad, they're good enough. So if we need a goal, let's bring them on. What are we bringing midfielders on when we're 3-2 down for?
Let's just say at 2-1, I would have swapped Destiny for Spence immediately. Then Basuma. See, I would say Bentancur, but I don't know if it was a game where we actually needed 2 holding midfielders the way they're piling it on. And then drop, say, a Basuma for Maddison, because I think in the second half he was atrocious. And then Mikey Moore for Werner. I really thought Mikey Moore was going to get more minutes. But you know what? I was on a stream with Ben earlier on We Are Tottenham TV, and he said something that I hadn't even processed myself or thought, which was a great comment from him. He does give them a few occasionally. But he said, do you know what? Maybe Ange said, with the way this shit show was going down, do I want to bring a Mikey Moore on and expose him to this? Could Mikey have Moore made a difference? Absolutely. Could he have come on and been in a losing situation and it could have had an effect on him? Again, absolutely. Do you want to bring on youngsters and say everyone wants to see him and then bring them on to that kind of shit show where everyone's down in tools and then go, or do you want to bring him on like we did when we're 3-0 up against the Manchester United, where the pressure's off him, go fill your boots, go. So the first 2 subs I would have made would have been Spence for Udogie immediately at 2-1 at the latest. And And I probably would have dropped Maddison for Basuma and had 2 at holding. But he doesn't do that. But I certainly would have made subs earlier than the 73rd minute and 3-2 down.
For me, though, Mikey Moore, he just looks, obviously I don't know him, but he just looks like the kind of player who'd just be like, yeah, give it to me. Give it to me. I'll take it on. He just looks that kind of player that will just take it on his shoulders. And I think he would have been fine. Obviously, we'll never know. But what do you think, Dan?
I definitely would have taken Werner off as soon as I could. I mean, he's a liability. He's holding us back. You know, that first half showed it. Time and time again, he was in so many good positions in the final third. He had the pace of the left back. Was it Veltman? He beat him time and time again.
Right,
but the final decision making for him continues to be pathetic. Let's be honest. He is just somebody. If you had Moore on there, I'm sure Moore would have crafted a few chances and he would have made better decisions. Obviously, we don't know for sure. He's young. You know, so it's a big game, but what have you got to lose? There was not many options to come off the bench on that left side, and Moore was there, hungry, young. You know, he could have made a bigger difference than Werner. I'm sorry, guys, but Werner, it's just a sad story, and I can't wait for our son to get back so we can go back on the bench. But look, going back to the changes, definitely, I agree with both of you. Basuma to come on to strengthen that midfield. Who would he bring off then? It'd probably have to be Kulu or push Kulu to the right. Take off Johnson maybe. Have a bit more strength in that midfield. More for Werner and definitely Spence for Udogie because Udogie was having a poor game. Is that because he's come back too fast from injury? Quite possibly. So there were so many changes. Everybody watching, all fans across the country, everybody saw what needed to be done, and Ange did nothing, and we lost it because of that. I think. I mean, there's been a lot of debate about is it Ange, if it's the players. Yes, it's both, but who controls the team? Who's the manager? It's Ange. Ange makes the decisions. That's what I think.
Dan, I will add to this as well, and as we were told by, the social media debates with people, wherever you stand on any spectrum of in, out, whether it be owner, board players, we were told by sections that it's all about a squad game. It's all about a squad game, and it's not just about the 11 anymore. It's about the 25, which I wholeheartedly agree with. And it's where we struggle because we've always said Spurs' first 11 on their day are a match for anyone. It's when you look down. Well, we were told that this season was all about beefing up that squad and making it. Well, it's all well and good beefing it up, but if you're going to beef that squad up and then say, "See, we've beefed up," but then you don't use them when needed, what's the point?
It sums it up how thin the squad is when the only attacking players we have on the bench are young and he won't bring on until the 90th minute or whatever. I know we got injuries, but
that's it.
That's what when you look at it. You look at when we talk about injuries, and Ange said at the beginning of or before the season, we're fitter than we were last season and ready to compete. We're here, October the 8th. Richarlison has been injured. Solanke has been injured. Lancashire has been injured. Odebear has been injured. Son's been injured.
Yeah.
That's 5 forwards before I even start talking Destiny, midfielders, Van der Ven. So where is this with the fitness levels, overplaying players or not having the quality and depth? If you look at it, when we signed Odebear, a lot of people, I was one of them, absolutely shocked how quiet that deal got done and wasn't overly impressed when we signed it. It was a knee-jerk reaction. But now, when you're left as your only left winger is either Timo Werner or a very, very young prodigy who's going to be brilliant, Mikey Moore, and you're missing your captain and your 30 whatever £million player, people would break your arms now to say if you could have Odebear fit, would you have him?
God, yeah.
And we can't.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
Hang on. Good times.
Good times. Big up Phil in the chat, mate. I mean, I'm sure If you jumped on, you'd let loose on this. But we'll leave that for another day. Big you up, man. Hope you're good. Yeah, look, let's go on to that forward line now. That, especially the wingers. I wanted to talk about that a bit more because they're definitely holding us back. Big up, LTL. They're just holding us back both. And Johnson. I know Johnson's been on good form. He scored 6 in 6. But what else other than that chance in the second half? What did he give us in that game? What was he? Was he an outlet? Was he an outlet there to hold the ball up? No. Was anyone playing him through on goal? No. He's not, for me, he's not the one. Yeah, to come off the bench, to play certain matches, squad player, okay. Yeah, when legs are tired, certain opposition, he can do a job. But when we're talking about the level of, I'm trying to be nice about him here. When we're talking about certain level of opposition, like Brighton, who are a good team, and coming up against likes of City, Arsenal, Liverpool, etc., Chelsea, we need, I think, what Ange wants is wingers who are going to consistently perform throughout the match and deliver with goals and assists. I'm talking on the left and on the right. I don't think Son's that one anymore, in my opinion. And I just think it's holding us back so much because if we did have a better quality of winger in that first half, and not just that game, we can talk about the Leicester game, we can talk about the Newcastle game, we would have more points on the board. I'm sure of it. And it is a failure from the club to not sign better wingers in the summer. And nothing against Wilson as well. He's a young player, there's a lot of potential, but we need players ready to go now for this season. And it's just, we just don't have it. They might get by, Johnson, Werner, Wilson, the likes of, 10 below in the league. But when it comes up against better opposition, this is a problem for me, massive problem. Please, guys, comment, and people in the comments as well. What do you think about that? Because
I'll let you go, Brian.
Yeah, you listen. You've hit a nerve here, Dan. You've hit a nerve. And as the chairman,
I was trying to be nice, Brian. I know you're
chairman, CEO, and whatever you want to do of the Brennan Johnson Defence League, the BJDL, as it's been aptly named, or as the sheriff has said, the JDL for short. I don't know why people are now this. What more can Brennan Johnson do than score 6 games and 6 goals, apart from score 7, 8, and an assist? Yeah. He has stepped up and delivered. Yeah. He has done, rather than a James Maddison and the experience team, which I'm going to call them now, not the leadership team, the experience team. He's the only man that's doing his talking on the pitch. He's come under horrific abuse, both personal and critically, about his football, which, fair play, the football, people can comment. Johnson has those 6 goals. 2 have been winners. 3 have been the first goal, and 1 has been to give us the lead. If it weren't for those goals, we'd have got into penalties against Coventry.
Yeah.
Who knows what would have happened there. Brentford, all right, we would have won 2-1 if things stood the kind of way they were. How important was that goal against Karabag? The goal against Manchester United, all right, set the tone. It was Van der Ven did all the hard work. Brennan Johnson, we have found a way, whether it's Ange has tweaked things or Johnson has responded.
Yeah.
At Nottingham Forest, the way he was utilised was using his pace and giving him space to run onto. At Tottenham, we did the exact opposite. We had so much of the ball. It's like, you get the ball, you run at players and take them on. Maybe that's not his strong point. He needs to improve. But when he's 6 in 6, yes, it could have been 7 in 7. Yes, I find it hard.
Yeah.
I find it hard.
I get you, Brian. Can I just come back to you on that one? Yeah, because I get what you're saying. It's really hard to argue what you're saying. He has got 6 in 6. But I'm looking at, he is delivering. I get what you're saying. But when that second half got tough, I'm not just blaming Johnson, Brian, and that's not all on him. But the other side, it's who's going to bring us up the pitch? What player is going to bring us up that pitch? Like, for example, the amount of times we've played Wolves, Neto leading the charge up the pitch and creating an assist, a player like that, similar sort of level. where is that player who's going to because that's what we needed in that moment. We were under pressure. We needed someone to get away, get a goal, and then back.
Dan, let me throw this back to you very, very quickly. So that with Brennan, we have a £65 million striker in Solanke who got the assist. His movement off the ball and his work rate is outstanding. But we bought a big man with a presence to be able to hold. One of his key attributes is holding the ball up, his strength, bringing players into games. Why do we not utilise that? Why have we not gone, right, let's go direct. Let's give it up to Dom.
Yeah,
he'll hold it up, which will allow players to run on. Dominic Solanke needs service. We didn't give him any service.
No.
You can only with the front line. We didn't even give them the chance. And when we did, yes, we didn't capitalise on it. But if you've got a £65 million striker who's brilliant aerially, brilliantly at holding the ball up, brilliant at bringing players in, all right, you're under the cosh. Well, let's release some pressure. Let's lump one up to you. You run in the channels or hold it up and allow the other. So we've got a front line that we don't utilise their main assets. Yeah. Because we have to pass it intricately. We have to have one too many passes. It has to be beautiful. It doesn't need to be beautiful all the time.
No, it doesn't. Definitely.
That's what I mean. What are you thinking?
What happened then? So why did we lose that in that game? Because in the first half it was happening, and you're right. We saw Solanke play a lovely ball for Johnson's goal. Yeah, we saw it. So what happened in that second half for us to not use, like you said, a £65 million striker, getting balls out wide, crosses in the box, because Solanke's good at headering. Then obviously you've got Johnson could run onto something possibly and score. I don't know, Brian. It was just that mess. It was a mess that second half, wasn't it? Complete mess. And maybe it was just that what it was. It was a mess, out-tacticked by the Brighton manager. Players didn't stand up. Look at how many talking points from that game, guys, that we've been discussing. There's been so many. And we could go on, couldn't we? We could be talking about this for probably another hour of all the faults of that game. But Brian, just back on that, Johnson, and I get your argument there. We can't really criticise him too much because he has been delivering, and let's hope it continues. But do you think we need a better quality winger then on the other side?
We've got Brennan Johnson, and it's just like my brother Philly was saying. We've got Johnson scoring. We found a way to utilise his main asset, his pace. Yeah. I've played it when we're on the counter attack, or he's got some space, getting that ball to him and him doing it. But we need who's the other right winger apart from pushing Kulu out and then saying, right, we're taking out your best position. We've got the speedster. We've got the guy that's scoring goals. Is that going to work every game? No. Do we need a tricky take his match? I keep saying if we go back to strike wingers, I want us to go sign. People will say Gareth Bale. They're not that. I remember back in my day, and you two remember Chrissy Waddle. Waddle took on his man, got to the byline, whipped it in. Ange doesn't play those kind of wingers. Do we need one? Yes. If you're going to play to Dom's strength, you need them. Can Odebear be that person? Maybe. But I don't want maybes. I want, yes, he can play that role. He can do that. We need very strong. We need two players in every position, which is obviously the dream for every team. But we don't need replicas. We don't need another Johnson that can score goals. We need a guy that can now go out wide, take his man on, and cross the ball. Is Brennan Johnson that player? No, he's not.
No, he's not. No.
It's
unfair, isn't it? Unfair, because we think he's going to do that, but that's not his game. His game is just finishing and being there in the right position at the right time. And recently, Ange has found a way. So the squad is not complete, no way near. And another point as well, while I remember it's on my mind, I can't remember who said this to me though, but do you all guys, Nige as well, please comment. Do you think a lot of those Spurs players are too complacent because they do not have the competition off the bench to come on and keep them on their toes?
Yeah, almost certainly. Yeah, absolutely right. We haven't got a strong enough squad. Going back to Johnson quickly, I think he's doing everything he can do. You know, he's, like it's been said already, 6 and 6. He's getting in positions. He's also assisting. He's missing chances too. So, if he keeps getting in those positions, I can see him getting 15, 16 goals this season. And if we're just going by numbers alone, then he's doing exactly what's been asked of him. Sadly, I think as a Spurs fan, I think most of us have been treated over the years to wonderful wingers, Waddles, Ginolas, Bells. And because Johnson isn't in that mode, he's someone who will get numbers, but he's not someone who's going to get you off your seat. So we have to decide what we want. Do we want numbers? Do we want goals? And the other thing is, so many people are like, oh yeah, but he scores against the bottom 10. And then when he scores against a big team, and okay, United are in the bottom 10, but United are still a big team. Going to Old Trafford is a big game, and he scores. And then it's, oh yeah, but United are poor. It's the worst United team for years. It's like he can't win. He's doing exactly what's being asked of him. And I'm not the biggest Johnson fan, but if he keeps doing what he's doing, then I'm going to join that defense league.
Do you know what? I mean, I have one thing to this. You mentioned some brilliant wingers. I mentioned Chris Waddle. Do you know the winger we need right now? And boy, God, if we had him now, Dominic Solanke would be scoring every game. Darren Anderton.
Oh, yeah.
Darren Anderton is the exact winger we need right now on that right-hand side. He would be... You go back and there's a channel or a Twitter account I always go on about every Spurs goal. The Daily Give got doing the research and bringing up every single one of our Premier League goals. Just go look at what Darren Anderson did for Tottenham Hotspur. He is the exact winger. If I could sign a winger from Spurs Pass right now to go on that right wing, give me Darren Anderson every single day of the week.
Yeah, he was some player, wasn't it? Some player.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we definitely need something. And just to finalise on that, having the people to keep people on their toes, because we haven't got anyone to cover Doggy, really, have we? No cover there to keep him ready, playing well. You could say the same maybe on the right, but I just don't think we have enough. We've got youngsters on the bench, and Ange is not even using them. We spent the money on them. They're not getting involved enough. Why is that, guys? Why isn't he throwing them in? He said that before the season starts, they're ready and we're going to use them. Why didn't we see him come on against Brighton?
I don't know. He said in the summer, one of the reasons we didn't sign another midfielder was because he was happy with Bergvall and Gray. Yet, yes, they play Europa League games, but they get absolutely no minutes in the Premier League. So I don't know. It's frustrating for me because we spent a lot of money on Gray and we're not seeing him. And when we do see him, is in a position that he's not comfortable with. We've seen him in every position at the back, but we've yet to see him as a number 6. So, listen, it'd be interesting to see what happens going forward.
Right. Yep. I think we've wrapped that game up, guys. Don't you think? I think we've... Anybody want to say anything else before we kind of move on to Ange? Because we need to talk about Ange a bit more, I think, before we kind of wrap things up for the night. Nige, Brian, any more?
All I will say with the youngsters, and here you go, grab your tin hats, people. When Ange and the club said we were so delighted with their exceeding expectations, we're not going to go for another midfielder. Are those words from Ange, or was Ange told to say that? I know where I'll put my money, and it's not. And I'll leave that part there before I go on a massive Levy out rant. I think they're great. I'm very happy with Archie Gray. I'm delighted with Archie Gray. I think Bergvall's will be a terrific player. Do I think Ange is sitting there going, oh my God, they're ready to take on the creme de la creme of the Premier League and Europe, and they're just going to slot in like a Dele Alli did or whatever? No, I do not. No, I do not. But hey, they're doing good. So whilst they're exceeding expectations and look young and fresh, they're good enough that we don't need to buy anyone. But conveniently, they're not good enough to give them starting places.
Bang on.
Definitely,
Say no more.
definitely. Nige, you had something you wanted to share with us. Do you want to do it before we wrap up the Ange and Levy talk?
I did. I think you need to take your thing off the share screen so I can put some on.
All right, let me remove it. It's gone.
And I got to make sure I can find it. Which one is it? Let's have a look. This is like playing roulette. So yeah, this one literally is what's, some of the stats so far from Ange. And listen, I'm not Ange out. I just want Tottenham to win. But I saw these stats and I thought they're quite damning. Most defeats in the top half of the table. One of only 4 teams to lose 3 of the last 5. Worst start to the season since 2008, and still haven't beaten a top 10 side since March. What do you make of that? Anything? Or was it too early in the season?
Come on, then.
Bring it up again, Nige. Let me look at that.
Oh, I just hit it. Let me get it up
You
again.
lost it.
Yeah, so I'll bring it back. There you go.
So
I mean, the worst start to
question-
the season. Well, to me, what do you make of it? I mean, for me, the worst start to the season since 2008 is quite a big one. We are early and it's only 7 games, but it's interesting
Okay.
reading.
Yeah, it is. And again, I wasn't, I've got a rant coming now. I'm sorry. This is going to set me off. It really is.
Oh, if I'd known that, I
It
wouldn't
is
put it
really
up.
going to set me off because the last 5 games, before we lost to Brighton, we were building a bit of momentum. We were getting the results. Big win at Man U. But again, that was questionable if Man U are even any good at the moment. Before that run, I was, and anyone who's watched me, I just didn't rate us as a team. I just thought we were just kind of bang average, to be honest. I just didn't see improvements up until them 5 games. But again, them 5 games, there were some easy wins there, some games that we should be winning. I just think, have we progressed this season? I don't think we have. And I'm not just talking this season, I'm talking last season as well. The results were poor then. The record, and it's not good at the moment. And what you put up there, Nige, it's just not good. Now, another question is, do we give Ange time? He's here now. He's there. He's not losing the job any day soon. I mean, Brian, we spoke about this. Levy will pull the trigger if we're far from those European spots. And, and you said about the danger point is end of October, November time. Now, I don't think we're progressing. Why are we not progressing? I just don't think that we signed well enough in the summer. I just think that Ange, even though we did see some tactical improvements in some games, and we mentioned this last week when he's not inverting the fullback so much, which was giving Maddison more space. So I was really happy about that. But that defeat on Sunday against another top 10 team just makes me think, I think we are just a mid-table team and the position in the league shows it. And if you look at the form since last season, if you add the results together, we probably are kind of mid-table, maybe below mid-table. So we're not really making progression. Enough for me. But is it too early? Yeah, of course, it's only 7 games. We will find out, guys. We will find out. We've got some big games coming up. I'm not convinced by Ange. I'm not convinced by his tactics. I'm not convinced what he says. The stuff he's coming out to in the press and how he's speaking to the fans. Sunday, just not doing anything in that 20-minute spell when we're under the cosh. there's just so many issues right now. So many. Go on, Nige. Sorry, I'm going on a bit of a rant there.
No,
but
no, you can't.
It just
That's
sets me off
fine.
like when I think about it.
Why? What do you think?
The one where it says most defeats in the top 10, that one, I think we're 7 games in. This top 10 isn't going to be the top 10 at the end of the season.
No. True.
Or it could, I think that one is too early to tell. Just bring it up again, Nige, so I can see the.
Okay.
Well, I'm just going to break it down individually. Each stat, so it'd be good to have it as a reference point if you can bring it up. So yeah, as whilst wait for you to bring this up, the here we go. So the top one, I think that's quite misleading. And other people could say that's totally unacceptable for Tottenham Hotspur. I think after 7 games, it's way too early. Only one of 4 teams to lose 3 out of the last 5. That is concerning. That is concerning. Listen, one of them is the filth. And let's face it, they are head and shoulders above us right now. Head and shoulders. They had, at that time, they had their captain out. They had their midfield partnership, the heartbeat, out. They found a way. They found a solution. They tweaked things. I don't like that one. Worst start to a season since 2008. There's no getting away from that. That is unacceptable. 2008 is Christian Gross. Sorry, one day Ramos on 2 points from 8 games. All right, we're a lot better off than that being it. But the fact that these records are here, people are saying, "Oh, we're playing better football. We have more possession. We have more." Okay, good. You show me the league table for possession and what that wins and how well that's revered, and then we can talk. But it's not. And I will say, this time last year, Conte's last season, at one point we had the best start in Spurs Premier League history. Look how that worked out. So it means nothing, but still haven't beaten a top 10 side since March. Listen, Manchester United, I'm sorry.
They're a top 10 side.
They're a top 10 team. People may say, "Oh, look where they are in the league. They're not a top 10 team right now." Ask anyone in the world who follows football, name me the top 3 teams in the world, or the biggest teams in the world. 99.9% Manchester United will be the first one they say, let alone in the 3. It's weird how we can say, "Well, Man U aren't a top 10 team right now." They are a top 10 team. They will be a top 10 team. They're not. Manchester United are not finishing in the bottom 10. Mark my word, they are not finishing in the bottom 10. So it's these stats could go around. We can say, "Oh, we just won the last 5 games, though. We're one of the most informed teams in all competitions."
Yeah,
it goes round and round in roundabouts. But the main thing is what is happening at Spurs. The second up, and mainly talking about the last game and that second half performance, is on the manager, is on the players, and it is unacceptable. It is unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, these stats, they are just being picked out of the air, really, aren't they? I mean, stats are stats. You can make a stat up about anything and, make it work for whatever agenda you've got. But, exactly. I get it. Sorry, Dan, go on.
Yeah, no, it's fine. And like Brian, Ange said after the Brighton game, he said it's his responsibility to fix up. It's on him to turn this round. Now, for you, Brian, I know you're not an Ange out, and I get that. What does Ange need to do for you to convince you that he is the right guy to lead us for the rest of the season? What do you need to see from Spurs? Because obviously 5 wins, people are questioning it, saying, "Oh, it's only Karabag, it's only Fenerbahce, it's only Coventry." What is it? And Nige as well asked you this question, and everybody in the chat. What does Ange need to do to prove the doubters wrong?
Well, the first thing he needs to do is he said he always wins something in year 2. That's the first thing he needs to do. As I've said, if someone said to me, "You're going to have this defeat in the Premier League or you'll have it in one of the cup tournaments," give it to me in the league this season all day long. Listen, the league is our bread and butter. It's the league we compete in. I am not fussed where we finish this season. And that's not because I I want a trophy. I want silverware. I want Spurs. The only way we get success this season is by winning a cup. It's not by getting top 4 because we're not getting it.
Yeah.
I don't even think we finished top 5, in all honesty, with the way things are at the moment. So Ange needs to make sure that we take the trophy seriously. I mean, after the scare we had against Coventry, I hope against Manchester City, who will rest, but let's face it, Manchester City's second team, 3/4 of them will probably walk into our first team, in all honesty, if not more. But then just because they're going weak doesn't mean we should go weak. I want to see a full fit. We've got to be careful when I say that, actually, because we've got Aston Villa afterwards. Then we've got Galatasaray away. So there's games coming around that time. But I wanted to focus solely on the trophies. The thing I really want to see from him is think before you speak in press conferences straight after victories. Because what you've just said in the last ones, you got people like myself and many people in this community. I don't just mean YouTube or social. I mean Spurs fan base that will give Ange time, that do want to back him, do want to see if he can do it. But when you say comments like you have done, you are opening yourself up for the criticism. You are opening it up for people like us to talk about it, whether it be guys in the pub, here, Twitter, Facebook, all the other outlets you can. And he needs to take some. He needs to see that he needs to use this squad. If he doesn't start using this squad, there could be problems.
Yeah, agreed. Totally.
Good answers, Brian. Yeah, very clear what you want from Ange and expectations. So I agree with most of you said. Definitely, Nige.
For me, I'm the same. I want a trophy. I don't overly care about the league. Obviously, I don't like losing games as a Spurs fan, but it's all about the cups this year for me. If we can't win the League Cup, then please just go all out for Europe. And this is why, for me, the Europa League is everything. You know, I will put that first before any other trophy, because if we win that, we get into the Champions League. For me, let's go and win a trophy. It's been so long. We are starved of it as fans. And for Ange, just, say less. It annoys me where he's so happy when we're winning, laughing and joking at every press conference. As soon as we lose a game, he gets aggressive and snappy. Just say less and, take us to a cup win. And I think we'll all be happy. League-wise, I don't think I've said all season, I think we'll be 7th. I'm still going to stick with that. And I don't think that's that bad. I think that's okay. But I want a cup.
Agreed.
Yeah, I want a cup. Desperate for a cup. Desperate for any win, success, anything we can celebrate. So just quickly, I know, Brian, you've got to jump off in a minute.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here? You kind of have answered it. Realistic expectations for the rest of the season from Brian, you, and then Nige. Realistic expectations and people in the chat.
Winning a cup. Winning a cup. We need this whole 16 years with winning nothing has to be changed. A winning mentality. We get this over the line and win a trophy. People are like, you can win here. They do want to win things. They do want to compete. They don't just care about the finances. Nothing happens. Nothing happens without this trophy. The expectation should be that Tottenham Hotspur, if I was Ange and I saw that I'm in 4 competitions right now, the realistic way of succeeding right now, if he wants to look back at his history when he leaves Spurs or is sacked from whatever, is that he's the man to end the drought of silverware. And I'll be like, right, I'm going to win a trophy, or I'm going to do everything I bloody well can to win a trophy. And let's face it, I think if anyone thinks honestly we can win the Premier League, then I don't want to start. that's each to your own, but I can't explain how wrong you are or your dreams to be shattered. We have a genuine chance of winning a trophy, but Ange is going to have to use his man management and squad better. And hopefully he will. I think this international break, you can look at it in a bad way because it's come off a bad defeat and you want to rectify it, or he's now got 2 weeks to look at it and say, right, this is not working, this ain't working, or hopefully I need to sort this out or find the solution to this, because he needs to find solutions. He really needs to work on finding solutions to problems quicker.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with everything you said. Yeah, spot on. Spot on.
Yeah, for me, it's absolutely a cup. And that's just, we're not gonna finish top 4. We're probably not gonna finish top 6. We're gonna win games, we're gonna lose games. But you know what? It's not all that bad. I know we lost to Brighton, but it's not all bad. We have a good team on paper when they turn up. We do play some nice football. Let's just go and win a cup. We need some luck. We need some luck to go our way. Obviously, we didn't get a great draw in the League Cup, but we've got every chance. On the night, we've got every chance. It's just 2 teams, and let's go for it. Let's just win a cup for the fans more than anything.
Correct.
We deserve it. We've waited long enough, and I know a lot of fans are like, trust the process, but I'm 50 years old, man. I want to see some trophies before I die. Hopefully not yet, but
Correct. Like Mark just said, 34 years since we've won an FA Cup. Not even won an FA Cup. Been to a final. If someone had told whatever I was, 1979, 10, 12 or 11 going on to 12-year-old me in 1991 when we won it for the first club ever to win it 8 times, you will be sitting here in 2024 going into 25 and you wouldn't have won it again or got to a final. Not only Spurs fans, I think English football fans would have said, you're absolutely buzzing, you're off your rocker. That is Tottenham's trophy. And not to be at a final is just, to me, the FA Cup, if someone said to me, you can have the Europa League, the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, forget the rewards of Europa, and I'd love to win a European Cup. The FA Cup will always be very, 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 very special to me.
It used to be our cup, Brian, didn't it? It used to be our cup.
Yep. That cup will never lose its magic. Yes, the putting one over Europe and getting into the Champions League by winning that cup would be magnificent. But that FA Cup is so goddamn special to me from my childhood. I love that cup and everything it stands for. So that's the cup I really want. But I would take a Europa League, funnily enough.
I think the problem is now, though, is with the money in the game, the League Cup, what you get? Under $1 million if you win it.
Yep.
The FA Cup's, is it 3 or 4 million, something like that? It's just not important, isn't it, anymore? It's all about league position. And,
correct.
Which is disappointing to say the least.
Correct. All right, guys, listen, on that note, I do need to go. I've got a few things to do. I just want to say thank you very much for having me on, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. We'll get you on top of the talk. Yeah,
definitely, Brian. Thank you, massive thank you for coming on, man. You've been brilliant, man. And you'll be coming on again. And me and Nige were more than happy to come on and jump on your channel whenever you need us. I mean, fantastic discussion today. It's been quite depressing and hard at times, and to find the hope is difficult. But we're still in all the cups. The season's not over yet. So come on.
Oh, no, it's a long way to go. And I will say, listen, everyone, please give these 2 channels a like. Don't worry about my channel or where I'm from, where you can find me. The greatest thing are new people coming into the community with different opinions, different views, supporting everyone. And these 2 are great guys, both on stream, off stream, as gentlemen, as friends, as whatever. So give these 2 a like and follow. I'm going to let you go and finish it. but I can't. I'm going to have to pass it on and do it on your channels now.
Okay.
You're going to get the custom. Everyone in the chat, have a wonderful evening, wonderful rest of your week. I've become Jonathan Wass. Rest of your week, and as always, Levy out.
Big up, Brian. What? Nice.
I think we're pretty much done as well, mate, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, I'm exhausted by it all, to be honest. It's been a real tough show.
Yeah.
Not a lot of positive things to say, other than maybe when Johnson scoring 6 in a row. It is what it is. You know, we're highly critical as fans whenever Spurs lose, and especially in the manner of how we did in that game. And the 2-week international break has just not helped us. We needed another game like this week, didn't we, to kind of get us back on? But it is what it is. Nige, what do you think?
Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of glad for an international break now, to be fair. I think Spurs have exhausted me over the last couple of weeks, and whereas I hate the internationals, you know, it'd be nice not to think about Spurs too much for a couple of weeks. And then we got West Ham at home, so all good. Bring it on.
Before we wrap up, Nige, I think, you know, let's just have a look at the comments. Because we haven't answered that many today. Is there any there that you would want to just talk about quickly? Because I think, you know, people who've been watching, it'd be good to kind of respond to people in the chat. Any notable questions there, Nige? You think standing out? Want to bring up
questions, but
just more comments, really. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very true comment. It absolutely is.
Yeah. Big up, Matt. Hope you're good, bud.
Big up, Matt. But no, it's been a good show.
Yeah,
it's been a good show.
And we'll be back.
Yes.
Sorry, man. Go on.
That's all right. I was going to say we would both love to be on Die Hards. Yeah. Anytime you need anyone.
Yeah, definitely. Mark,
jump on.
Yeah, just we'll jump on. That'd be great. Thank you. Yeah. So what we got planned, Nige? Have you got anything planned streaming wise for the rest of the week?
Not as yet. I think I'm trying to get some allocated time with my son to do another Nige and Chonk show, but he's at uni, so getting him free is a bit of a nightmare. But I'm sure we'll sort something out over the next week or so. But other than that, no, not really. No. What about you?
So I had not a lot planned for the rest of the week, but next week I'm going to be hoping that we're going to deliver the penalty box episode 2. So those guys who haven't been following me since the beginning, I think it was just after the season started, we did a show where I brought in other fans from other clubs and we discussed our expectations. We discussed the last game that we played. Yeah, really fun. It was good to talk to other supporters and asking their opinions on Spurs. And I was giving you my opinion on their clubs. Yeah, good bit of fun there. So next week, as it's international break, we're going to kind of just do a little mid-review. Nige, as I said, you definitely come on with us as well. And it should be fun. So guys, tune in. I'll try and get some advertisement out later this week. So fingers crossed that will go ahead next Tuesday evening. So yeah, everybody watching, please join us, get involved with that. Should be fun. And just a big thank you for everybody who watched, everybody's comments, everyone's got involved. A massive thank you to you guys. And Nige, you've been brilliant as usual. Thanks so much. And please subscribe to Nige if you haven't already. That's great.
Yeah. And thanks to everyone, like Dan said. And I apologize that we haven't managed to get to all the comments. Sometimes it's quite difficult when you're concentrating on what people are saying to actually get to comments as well. But big up to everyone who's come and joined. Really appreciate it. And absolutely go and subscribe to Dan at the Spurs DANalyst. He works really hard, puts out lots of good content. Follow him on TikTok as well. And we will see you on the next show.
Thank you. Thanks, Nige. Thanks. Good night, everybody. And come on, you Spurs.